Xi Jinping recognizes that capital still has an important role to play in China's modernization efforts and encourages its orderly regulation rather than abolition. He says that after the launch of the reform and opening up, we broke free from a restrictive mindset on ownership and came to realize that capital, as a major factor of production, can serve as a tool for the market to allocate resources and an effective means to grow the economy. Yet we must be aware that capital is profit-driven in nature, and if unregulated and unconstrained, it will cause immeasurable damage to the economy and society. The 2008 global financial crisis has taught us that allowing capital to blindly pursue profit will result in chaos, and that global prosperity cannot be built on the shaky foundations of a market without moral constraints. The growing gap between rich and poor is both unfair and unsustainable. It is important for us to use both the invisible hand and the visible hand to form synergy between market forces and government functions, and strive to achieve both efficiency and fairness. We must set up traffic lights for capital flows. Traffic on the road needs to be controlled with traffic lights. Likewise, capital also needs to be regulated. No capital of any type can be allowed to run out of control. We must prevent the unchecked growth of capital and combat monopolies, exorbitant profits, sky-high prices, destructive speculation, and unfair competition. We must reinforce effective regulation of capital in accordance with the law. The socialist market economy is law-based, and capital must operate in accordance with the law. Curbing the disorderly expansion of capital is not intended to deny its worth, but to ensure its orderly growth. To regulate capital, we should strictly enforce the relevant laws and regulations and improve those that are incomplete. We must support the healthy growth of capital through regulation and guidance. The 2021 centenary goal of achieving a moderately prosperous society in all respects was tied to achieving quantitative benchmarks in economic development, such as the elimination of absolute poverty, increasing the numbers of the middle class through elevated living standards, growing the GDP of the country through technological innovations and advancements, and closing the gap between rural and urban economies. However, after 2021, when these benchmarks had been surpassed, greater focus shifted towards qualitative standards, such as high-tech, people-oriented, and green development. Xi Jinping's vision for the future of China is of a green, environmentally sustainable, and beautiful nation, leading the world in sustainable technologies and development to move towards a model of ecological civilization. He explains the necessity of green development for China by pointing out that the total population of well-off countries in the world is about 1 billion. China has more than 1.3 billion people. If we are all to become modernized, the well-off population must more than double. If we were to consume as much energy and production in daily lives as the present well-off people do, all of the existing resources in the world would be far from enough for us. The old path seems to be a dead end. Where is the new road? It lies in scientific and technological innovation and in the accelerated transition from factor-driven and investment-driven growth to innovation-driven growth. In an overall effort of progressing towards a future that is both prosperous and sustainable, China's high-tech sector continues to develop new green technologies, such as electric vehicles, hydropower, nuclear energy, energy storage systems, smart grids, green infrastructure, solar and wind energy, as well as carbon capture technologies. We should endeavor to build a green, clean, and beautiful world. The Earth is the only shared home for humanity. Now, a few individuals are trying to find a new home in outer space, but that is still a distant dream. In the foreseeable future, human beings still need to live on this planet. This is a fact that will not change. We must defend the Earth's boundaries, both tangible and intangible, to ensure harmony between humanity and nature. We need to improve planning regarding our territorial space, implement our functional zoning strategy, and draw up red lines for ecological conservation. We should accelerate efforts to establish a system of nature reserves, improve biodiversity protection networks, and set reasonable spatial limits for economic and social activities. We will never again seek economic growth at the cost of the environment.